YouTube, we are back with a brand new video, and today we're going to be discussing if the iPod Touch 6th generation is worth it in 2019. Now, the iPod Touch 6 right in front of us is on iOS 12.2, the latest full release, and it released in 2015. It has a 64-bit Apple A8 processor along with 1 gigabyte of RAM, so not the best. And essentially it's the same internal specifications as the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, just in an iPod Touch. Now, this device supported from iOS 8.4 to the current 12.2, and it's definitely not the greatest. I'm just going to say that, get that out of the way. It's an aging device. The hardware is definitely old at this point. It's 2014 hardware. And on the latest version, it's just like the iPhone 6. It's not that big of an upgrade from the iPhone 5S even. The A7 processor is maybe like on average. I think the single core score would be 100 points behind. And even for the multi-core score, which is really what matters most out of the two, is about 200, 250 points on average behind. And that's not good when it comes to an actual like mobile device or software in general. That's pretty bad, actually. So it's not much faster at all. The 5S, 6, 6 Plus, and iPod Touch 6th generation both have, or all have 1 gigabyte of RAM, which is pretty sad in 2019 if you have, if people are releasing devices with 1 gigabyte of RAM, but no one does that anymore. So, the battery life is, well, okay, so it holds up. It holds up. I recommend playing any games on this thing. You want to put it on the charger and play. It's the battery life is not great at all. It's an improvement over the iPod Touch 5th generation and a great improvement over the 4th gen, but the battery life cannot get you through the entire day of use, like playing games, listening to music, and all of that stuff, and watching YouTube and doing all that stuff. You have to really have it on the charger. I mean, listening to music, you can do off the charger. It's not gonna really hurt your battery, but for like everything else, you're gonna want to be plugged in to some type of power. Now, like I said, the performance isn't the greatest. Most games run fine still. You could throw like so much at this thing. It's not terrible at all. I played a lot of games on this, and it works. It definitely works for 2019. Especially if this is all you, like, if you don't want to pay for a phone contract, you could just go buy one of these and, it'll work. So, it's definitely, there are benefits, a lot of benefits of having this. And Apple still sells it, brand new. They don't advertise it much. You actually have to, it's pretty hidden on their website. You have to scroll down to the very bottom of their website, and you'll see, if you're on a phone, you'll see like the tabs. You tap Apple Store, and iPod Touch will come up under that tab. And if you tap, if you're on an iPad or like a computer, all you have to do is scroll the bottom page and look for iPod Touch. Now, one of the complaints other than battery life and speed I have is, like I said, the 1 gigabyte of RAM. It's not enough in 2019. Just not enough. Most phones use at least 2 gigabytes now, and 1 gigabyte of RAM is not the greatest. I know there are a lot of reloads that have to be done if you have a ton of apps in the background and you keep switching between them. I've had many reloads with this thing. Now, when it came out, it was a great device in 2015. And I would only recommend it if you don't want to pay for a phone contract. You want an iPhone maybe, but you don't want to pay $1,000 for an iPhone, or you're fine with that part, but you don't want to be on a contract using data when you really don't need to use data. Then definitely get an iPod Touch if you're not going to really do heavy gaming or heavy just usage on the go. If you don't have unless you have a charger. You could get a portable charger, but now, the iPod Touch does not have Touch ID, and that's one thing I wanted to bring up, is a lot of people, before the 6th gen released, expected Touch ID, because, Touch ID was, 2 years old by then? It released in 2013 on the iPhone 5S, and, a year later, 2014, we get the iPhone 6s. It was on those two, of course. The iPhone 6S's and 6S Plus in 2015 had Touch ID 2nd gen, and then when the iPod Touch 6 released, no Touch ID at all. So it's kind of a disappointment for a lot of people that wanted to get the newest iPod Touch, but No Touch ID. Now, yes, this iPod Touch does still have a headphone jack, as you guys can see right here. Headphone jack. We have a lightning connector and a small, really small, not high quality speaker. So it's definitely something you want to keep in mind. You might want to have You might want to have some type of earbuds or anything with you. So speaker does not get very loud at all. And if you're in a public place, do not expect to hear it that great. The front-facing camera is a FaceTime HD camera at 1.2 megapixels, so it's pretty bad. There's gonna be a lot of blur and it's gonna be grainy. It's not good. 1.2 megapixels is really bad, and so don't expect to be taking picture-perfect selfies or pretty much any selfie at that point. I mean, the rear-facing camera has a rear-facing camera at 8 megapixels, so you'll definitely be able to get something out of that. 8 megapixels is not bad. It's not the greatest, but it's not bad. It's only 4 megapixels lower than the iPhone XS's and, the iPhone Xs, and so you can definitely get rear shots out of it fine. I definitely would expect some blurriness, but not terrible at all. There's not going to be an issue. So for FaceTiming, you could get away with the 1.2 megapixel camera because it's not like, to the point where you can't tell what anything is. You'll be able to see the person's face, but it's still not a great camera at all. It's actually really bad. Now for software support, the iPod Touch 6th generation is most likely not going to get iOS 13. iOS 12 is most likely going to be the last version it's going to support. So if you're looking at an iPod Touch 6 right now, expecting to get iOS 13, I wouldn't. I would just save your money. Wait for a very possible iPod 7, but at the same time, the chances are really slim. But I would still hold your money. Make sure you don't buy an iPod Touch 6 with it unless you need something. But as of now, most likely not getting iOS 13. So I'd keep that in mind. You're not going to be supported for that much longer. So I just wanted to say that. So would I recommend this device in 2019? Yes and no. Yes is for the people that just want a media player, for music, maybe watching some YouTube videos, browsing the internet, light browsing, maybe texting your friends, and occasionally taking rear-facing very specifically, photos, and possibly FaceTiming, because again, you can get away with that. And you can definitely get away with light games. Now, if you're that person that wants a device that can play heavy games, that can play music, watch YouTube videos, and do everything the latest devices can do, definitely this is not for you. Now, it depends. It really does depend what you need it for. So I would suggest thinking to yourself, so what am I going to use this for? What do I need it for? And then think of what I said, and you should be good. You'll know if you should wait. Maybe you should not get it at all. Or maybe you're like, all right, this would be perfect for me, so I'm going to go get one. So, yeah. So, that's it. That's all I actually have to say. I mean, the device isn't terrible, but it's not great. I mean, it's not amazing. It's okay. I mean, it's right in between. It's not great at all, but it's not terrible at all. So, yeah. So, guys, if you liked the video, leave a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Be very appreciated. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out.